This guy on screen on the right, this is Hank Kunneman. He's a Trump pastor. On the left is his wife, Brenda. Now, they're both mega church pastors now. I don't know if they were at the time. This is 2019 when this clip came out. Late October 2019. Okay, now listen to what they have to say here. I think this is leading up to the 2020 election.
I want us to stretch our hand out and put one finger over our mouths as a prophetic sign that all the accusations, the lies, the agenda of evil shall be silenced.
Wait, am I using the right hand? Did he mirror, or am I mirrored? I can't even tell. I think I might be mirrored. I got to do this right or it won't work, right?
The lies, the agenda of evil shall be silent as the finger of God, as justice comes and silence and shuts the mouths and exposes their agenda, that it has no breath, no expression, no sound, no manifestation. Put your finger up to your mouth. We speak now. Shh.
So this is Hank Kunneman's attempt all the way back in 2019 to make Trump win the election and make people stop hating him?
Shh.
Okay. Well, that worked fantastically, didn't it? All right, let me ask you this. Do you think that Hank, like in the dead of night, when he's laying in the dark, head on pillow, and he's alone with his thoughts, do you think that it's knocking around in there somewhere? Maybe I'm false. Maybe I am completely full of it. Like, maybe I don't speak to God like I thought I did. The thing is, there are two people in the prophet relationship. God and the prophet. That's it. Those are the two. Now, if something goes wrong, if something was predicted incorrectly or the timing wasn't right or whatever, somebody was wrong. One of those two people in that relationship was wrong. Now, Hank Kunneman prophesied, claimed to receive divine information from God himself that Trump was going to win in 2020. And what happened when he didn't? When he lost? This happened.
Whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
That's what he said to his church. No joke. I have that on my soundboard because I'm so entertained by it. So who was wrong, Hank? Was it you or was it God that was wrong? One of you was wrong. Check out this clip. This is from mid-February 2024. This is Hank Kunneman, well established at this point as a Trump pastor, effectively, defending Trump's, I guess, mean tweets. Is that what you call them? They're not even mean tweets. They're complete scumbag tweets, like talking about a woman that he is civilly liable for having raped, for example. It's the most recent. They're not tweets. They're on his platform, Truth Central or whatever it's called. That's the type of tweet that Trump puts out today. He is defaming and destroying the reputation of a woman, E. Jean Carroll, who he is civilly liable for raping. Does God justify that or what? That is the type of thing that Hank Kunneman calls mean tweets. Oh, witness intimidation, jury intimidation, all kinds of other things. Yeah, mean tweets, right? Okay, listen to what he says here.
Oh, I just think he is so mean. You know what? I realized something. You know, all of his tweets was nothing more than God speaking, whether he knew it or not.
God is speaking, and the message that he wanted to give to humanity is E. Jean Carroll is a lying, I guess. Is that I don't know if Trump said that, but that's kind of the point he was trying to get across with a lot of his tweets, right? E. Jean Carroll being the person that Trump is civilly liable for having. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of message that that God would deliver. Absolutely. That checks out.
Against an opposing kingdom and what they're trying to do. And you know what? If you think President Trump is bad, you would not like Elijah. Because he stood up in First.
Quick note before we continue, I want to let you know I just wrote a book. If you want to check it out, owenmorgan.com/book. It's a book about my experiences within Jehovah's Witnesses. It's completely understandable if you know nothing about Jehovah's Witnesses. And if you're a Christian, it's a good reference to use for why Jehovah's Witnesses are wrong about their interpretation of the Bible. The last chapter of the book is 100 questions that I have for the governing body. I'm selling the last chapter separately as its own separate guide if you guys want to get that too. So check it out, owenmorgan.com/book. I'd appreciate that. Okay, let me tell the story of Elijah real quick. Elijah was one of God's prophets, or one of God's, he was a prophet. Anyway, he claimed to have a special connection to God. There were non-Jewish people in the area. They claimed to have special connection to their God, I think Baal maybe. And so they go up on a mountaintop and they set up an altar to Baal. They set up an altar to Yahweh. And Elijah basically says, pray as long as you want to your God to light your altar. To like burn the offering that you have there or whatever, light it on fire. You have as long as you want. I'm going to stand here and wait. And when you're done, I'm going to light my offering with the power of Yahweh. I'm going to ask him to send fire from the sun to light it or whatever. Okay? That's the story. And of course, the Baal worshipers, the non-Jews, prayed for 12 hours, I think, or something it says, until noon, and they finally gave up. And then, just like that, Elijah prayed, and boom, both altars lit up. Both the Baal one and the Yahweh one, I believe, is how the story goes. And that was proof that Elijah could speak to God, and so on and so forth. That's the story. And then Elijah mocked the others, the non-Jews. I think that's what the Bible specifically says. Then he mocked them or something.
Elijah, because he stood up in 1 Kings 18 and said, why are you caught between two opinions? Come on, bring me your Baal worship. Put your bull down. Call down fire. What do? They cut themselves. They bled, right?
Well, I mean, they prayed and all that junk, so...
No fire. And here's what he did. He goes, Elijah, I'll behave myself. But he mocked them. Okay, he wrote mean tweets.
Okay, so I guess he's saying that Elijah was the Donald Trump of the day? Am I reading this correctly? Elijah is basically Donald Trump in the sense that he mocked somebody? Okay, mocking somebody and intimidating witnesses in a trial, two completely different things. Mocking somebody, I guess what you could say... Or I guess you could say what I'm doing right now to Hank Kunneman to some degree is mockery, right? A little bit. This is not what Donald Trump does. I'm doing it respectfully. I'm not insulting him. I'm not calling him a moron or not worth anything or not saying I hope he dies or any of that, because it's not accurate. I'm having a good laugh at how ridiculous some of this stuff is, but I don't wish death on anybody. I don't think that he's stupid either. I don't think that all cult members are stupid. In fact, I think a lot of cult members are very intelligent. As Seth Andrews says, some of the smartest people around, including me and you almost certainly, came up with the most creative justifications to continue to believe their religious nonsense. There are some genuinely intelligent people out there. Like Thomas Aquinas, super smart guy. Wasted his energy on nonsense. Some of the smartest people come up with the most ridiculous explanations. I don't think Hank Kunneman is stupid. I don't hope he dies or any of that stuff. Mockery can be done in a respectful way, and I have to imagine that's how Jesus would do it. But who am I? I don't talk to God. Hank does, right? Quick interjection. This won't take long. If you like what I do, I'd appreciate it if you watch the video to the end. YouTube bases video reach off of watch time, so watching even an extra minute makes the video go further. Liking and subscribing goes a long way too. Finally, it would be awesome if you guys checked out my Patreon. All links are in the description, of course. Okay, back to the video. It's really weird how often this guy compares Trump to God or to Jesus. And it's kind of getting out of hand at this point. This one is from late March 2024. Listen to who he compares Trump to this time.
And they cried out for a deliverer. God, give us somebody And God raised up Samson, remember, to help bring deliverance. Do you know what the people did?
I mean, I remember the story of Samson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the story where the dude had super strength given to him by God, and he was seduced by this woman, and she asked him, "What's the source of your strength?" And he trusted her so much that he told her that it was his hair. If his hair was ever cut, he wouldn't be strong anymore. So they came in and they cut his hair, and he couldn't do what he needed to do. So he prayed to God for one final burst of strength, and God granted it as he pulled the building down on them. He grabbed the pillars and pulled them down. I think that's how the story goes, right? Okay. How does this relate to Trump?
Do you know what the people did? They tied up their own deliverer that God sent and handed him over to the Philistines. This is what the evangelicals and the never know Trumper evangelicals, pastors and stuff done. They tied up a deliverer that God has appointed and anointed.
This is what the never Trumper evangelicals have done. They have tied up their deliverer, like Samson, like Jesus, like Elijah. No, not Elijah. Hank believes himself to be Elijah, the one that talks to God and communes with him and can prove so on and so forth. He's got the Elijah anointing, and that qualifies him to claim that Trump is like Jesus and Samson and so on and so forth. It's insane. It's absolutely nuts. I'm sorry, man. That is just unglued from reality.
A deliverer that God has appointed and anointed. When he's meant for your children, for you, and for this country. And it has nothing to do with him. It has everything. This is what people have got to be careful of. This is why when they write their lunacy and misquote us all the time.
Misquote us. Yeah. This is me misquoting him, okay?
You're touching God. You're touching what God has said and what God wants to do.
I'm touching God and his intentions and interests. Every time I write something down about Hank Kunneman, or anytime I talk about any of his videos, or, mock, or whatever, I'm touching God. God is in the equation. Now, you know what I really want to prove? And I feel I effectively proved it already. I want to prove that this guy is completely full of shit. That he does not have a relationship with God to any degree. Never has. Claims to speak with God, to commune with God, to have a special connection that nobody else has. Hold on, let me show you. Here's an example of Hank Kunneman claiming to be a prophet of God and explaining why he got his prophecies wrong and why you're wrong if you want to criticize him. I mean, it's this kind of thing.
Whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
That's the corner that he backs into ultimately. But before getting to the you can shove it part, he gives us this kind of nonsense right here. By the way, this clip came out mid-May 2021.
There's been a lot of signing of petitions and accountability they're calling for the prophets.
Signing a petition. So people signed petitions to what? Get him out of his ministry so that somebody else leads the church? Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm down. He shouldn't have a ministry. There's a test. Deuteronomy 18:22. If what a prophet says does not come true, then he's lied. Then he doesn't have that connection to God. Then what he said was said presumptuously, and you should not fear him. God gave man a test to tell if somebody is claiming to speak for him or not. The test, if what he says doesn't happen, it was a lie. And the penalty for that, of course, is death. I don't believe in the death penalty for any reason ever. But this guy just can't can't accept the fact that he was wrong, even though people are apparently signing petitions. And when it finally reached a fever pitch and the petition sheet was signed and turned in.
Whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
Dude, I wonder how many people he lost after his false prophecy. Any? Some, certainly, right? I mean, keep listening to this.
There's been a lot of signing of petitions and accountability they're calling for the prophets. I have no problem with the statement of accountability. And
I bet.
prophetic. I have no problem with the statement to identify prophets and what they are and false prophets. What I have a problem with is their statement or their stance. A lot of times people, they're standing, it's amazing. Nobody wrote a letter and thanked me for all the years that I prophesied the other presidents and and even.
That's because it was an educated guess. It was a 50-50 thing, a coin flip. Anybody could have looked at the situation and guessed at it the way that Hank did. Of course, I didn't write in and thank you. There were, like, I don't know, 100 million other people saying, yeah, Obama is almost guaranteed to win in this situation because he's an incumbent, blah, blah, blah. That's not a prophecy.
President Trump, and no, but soon as something didn't look like it happened, boy, they jump on the bandwagon to attack you. And my question is, how many of those people that are...
As soon as something looks like it didn't happen... No, Trump lost. He lost the election. There's no proof. Otherwise, none. It isn't a, oh, it doesn't look like it happened kind of situation. It's a, you're wrong kind of situation. It's a Deuteronomy 18:22 type of deal.
Attack you. And my question is, how many of those people that are attacking, are you a prophet?
No, I'm a normal person that God gave power to justify me determining if somebody's a prophet or not. This was said to normal people, not to special prophets, not to special people, not to any of that stuff. This is for normal people. How do we tell that it really is God? How do we know? If what he says does not come true, he spoke presumptuously, do not fear him. Don't pay him any mind. Don't pay attention to him. Don't listen. Those are all different ways that it's translated in different Bible translations. I think Jehovah's Witnesses version says, don't be alarmed.
So how can you, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 14 that the prophets are to judge the prophets. That's what it says. If a prophet is to prophesy.
Okay, well, sure, maybe prophets should judge prophets, but that doesn't mean that non-prophets can't also judge prophets based on Deuteronomy 18:22. He's just looking for a way to weasel out of being wrong here.
Prophesy, okay? Let the others judge, the other prophets. That's what he was speaking about. And so, are they prophets? Do they stand in a fivefold office of a...
And he determines who the prophets are. So if somebody is a self-proclaimed prophet or whatever, and they point out that he got that wrong, well, he determines if they're a prophet or not. Well, he just says, well, they're not prophets. That easy. Huh. Convenient.
They stand in a fivefold office of...
And by the way, what the hell is a fivefold office? If they don't stand in a fivefold office of a prophet, what?
So they stand in a fivefold office of a prophet. Second, do they have a positional grace and an authority by God? Just because you're a prophet doesn't mean that you might be called to be a prophet to the nation. Okay, there's different rank and file and responsibilities that are given to the prophets or to any fivefold office.
No, Hank, you lied. It's that simple. You can weasel your way out of it all you want. I can't believe the guy kept a congregation. Not only did he keep a congregation, but he has a mega church now, a mega church. He's a Trump prophet, claims to prophesy from God. This is like one of the most blasphemous things I think I've ever seen in my life. Now, I don't care about blasphemy. Again, I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't believe in any of this stuff. But my God, dude, does it get worse? Honestly? And again, when called on it,
Whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
this is just wild, dude. This guy's shameless. Let me know what you think about him in the comments. He's just straight up disgusting to me.